step back from yourself a lot, you know. Make a hobby to be normal or something. Because if you don't, you lose what you started with, you know. Simple as that.
Our band formed on the 16th, well, not we didn't form, our first show was on the 16th of August 1977.
We all lived in the same neighbourhood, grew up together.
Where was that, in Sydney?
Yeah, in Sydney. And we've been playing for most of that time, and I think most of where we are today has been on the basis of playing a lot live.
Are you ready for a new sensation? A new sensation right now.
The Ferris Brothers Band, is that the original name?
It was for a little while, for want of a better name, basically. It would sound like a country western act.
With the Ferris
Had a lot of cowboys come along to our shows. You know?
I got listening to the Monkees, Beatles, Curtis Mayfield, this, Petula Clark, Dusty Springfield.
I'm surprised, because when we talked about the 60s before, it was like, oh yeah, well, we don't know about the 60s, because these are all the bands that you're talking to.
Well, yeah, I sort of listened to
older bands.
I listened to that after it had done its time, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of got a lot from my parents, having parties playing Motown and...
Don't change for you. Don't change a thing.
When we started up, it was the Pistols and Chic. That was our two extremes of what we got into, you know. And that's how we sort of ended up what we are, you know, in a way. And
A Chic Sex Pistol.
that's right. And and
We signed to an independent record company because back in the early 80s, you know, you signed with an independent record company or label, so that gave you this sort of artistic freedom, you know. And that turned out to be the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard in my life, because all that meant was that they didn't have the money to let you make anything, you know, let alone artistic freedom, you know. Artistic freedom from midnight to dawn, maybe. But that was about it. And with Shaboo Shabaa was the first record we made after signing to a major label, and it was just a great record, you know. I mean, we could do whatever we wanted, it felt like, and make music.
I understand. I sympathize for a daydream.
At that point, I think it really started to come together, and then I think probably by Listen Like Thieves, we really sort of, you know, honed in on it with songs like What You Need and stuff like that. Right from the beginning, we kind of made a commitment as a band, you know, to stick it out as long as we can, you know, as far as we can take it, and as long as we're still, you know, as far as we're concerned, moving forward.
It's interesting, somebody made the quote about this band that they might as well be brothers.
Yeah, we all are. I don't think there's much difference between the Ferrises and me and Pengilly and Beers and the rest of them.
I think the chemistry is probably only changed in a way that we've been together so long. You know what I mean? There's no sort of surprises anymore, you know? I mean, it's not like anyone can say anything that could really shock anybody unless they really try.
Come on, guys. I've fucking had it standing around here with you lazy bastards, you know, it's... You know, what a scandal, mate.
Makes it really, really great pleasure to work with the guys too, because just everything, I don't know, it just seems to gel really quickly when we play stuff together, you know, and it's just a really nice feeling. John and perhaps myself are more influenced by music that affects the feet, you know, and then Kirk's more the sort of heart or head type of guy, you know, and Michael's a bit more the sort of the body. Yeah, Michael's a bit sort of lower body.
Make sure you eat all your vegetables now, mate.
No, I'm eating my broccoli.
Don't waste this either.
Don't waste that. You like that?
Oh, can I?
Yeah, of course, anytime.
You're my big mouth.
Ironically, one of the questions that come at us recently is, you know, it's what's it like being with your brothers in a group? Must be really tough, must be really hard. All I can say is, actually, it's fantastic because you get to experience all of it, but you really know you're sharing with someone who cares, you know. So it's cool.
Australia basically comes from, I think, you know, a live sort of circuit. You know, it's built its whole, I think it's in its past, its reputation on live bands in pubs and, you know, it's all my memories of growing up, you know, going to concerts and that sort of thing.
Because of the nature of us, because we're not one formula, we've had to really tour a lot, and it takes a lot longer for people to understand us and know the faces, you know, the six of us for a start. So I think that, you know, the time has been worth it, because people know we're real. We're not just here to make hit singles and go back to the beach in Sydney. Falling down the mountain, and the distant
you know, we've just always been real rhythm boys, you know, we just love rhythm, soul and R&B and, you know.
We've always sort of steered quite clear of trends, but we've always had a dance element, you know, and a funky thing. We've always used sort of loops and samples for about at least the last 12 years. So for us, it's like a lot of people are catching up to us. I'm such I am not alone. I am such please show me some.
the electronic scene out of England, not so much the Britpop, I think is really interesting. That's why I went to London, actually, in some ways. Originally, apart from hooking up with Andrew again, I was trying to work with a few people for a solo project and track down, you know, Tricky and Goldie and Nelly Hooper and all the Massive Attack people, and you know, which I think is pretty exciting stuff.
Why don't we make it in the rain like we used to? Run, hide, whenever want a good life.
We started out as an old-fashioned band, in a sense.
Yeah.
We were actually a 70s band. When we
in the
formed
80s,
in
we had tried to
77.
ignore. I remember the whole of the 80s, we're like, we don't want anything to do with anyone. We want to be original. That's all we want to do.
We like video. We deal with it, you know. We're not scared of it. We're not told what to do.
Video, we have so many shows, and that you can just about, if the clip is good enough sort of quality to get on, you can get it on.
Some people think that you might be just this band who's just constructed for video, you know? But we're not, you know. We've been making videos way before, you know, for more than, it must be 12, 13 years.
As a band,
As a band, yes. You know?
But Australia's had video shows since the 60s.
You know, it's the only way we could see acts from overseas, because no one ever came to Australia. So it's quite normal, you know. And, you know, yeah, we love it. I think it's a great medium.
Back at your old videos. Speaking of age.
Very embarrassed sometimes.
Is it?
Yeah.
What makes you cringe? What is it about them?
I don't know, because you're still, it's weird to grow up in public and you know, you're still finding yourself. It's just like looking back at a yearbook or something from your school and going, what was I thinking, what was I doing? Or old photos, you know. But it's magnified into a video.
I'm standing here on the ground. The sky above won't fall down. Seeing how evil in our dimensions.
I think video is just part of music now, and that's that. I think it's great. I mean, if it wasn't for video, you wouldn't have, the edge of technology and experimentation wouldn't exist.
Dream on, white boy, dream on, black girl, and wake up to a brand new day. To find your dreams are washed away.
It's a pretty simple song. It's about kids and conditioning, growing up, how you grow up if you grow up through other people's ideas or your own.
There was a time when I did not care, and there was a time when the facts did stare.
I know they had the Civil War and everything, but really, when you look at it on the whole, they really haven't sorted that problem out at all, have they? You know, I mean, even when it comes down to music, you know, in America, you've got your heavy metal sort of music here, and then, you know, everything has to be categorized and, like, you know, sort of segregated, you know? And that's a shame in a multicultural society, you know? I think radio in America should play everything. I think it should play black music. I think it should play, you know, it should play hip-hop, heavy metal, thrash music, you know, classical music, you know? Educate people, you know? I mean, that's the perfect world, though, I suppose, and it seems we're a long way from that.
You wanna make a suicide bomb? Love the nation, suicide bomb.
Did you guys
talk amongst yourself going, oh, radio programmers are going to steer clear of this one?
Well, we did, but they didn't, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it would obviously concern us, but then again, it's to us, it's fairly obvious that the song has nothing to do with suicide. It just, I mean, you know, in that form, it's about people colouring their hair and you know, dyeing their hair so they dye with their own hands, you know. That's
but I was surprised that nobody ever really came down on it. So, because, you know, all this thing about censorship and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. We're lucky, I guess.
Did you expect that? No, I didn't want that because it's a really good video.
It's a brilliant
I want people to see it, you know. So why don't you play it?
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Did you taste it? Never, 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 never.
The problem with it is I understand that possibly 12-year-olds don't want to see me tied up with some woman crawling all over me. And people sucking Gary's toes and da-da-da-da-da. You know, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or something. I can sort of understand that, you know. But at the same time, video is now our tools. They're guitars and keyboards and drums to us. The camera has become that for most bands. If we're stifled in that, we might have to invent a new medium to show this art in.
Yeah.
You know, almost. There might have to be a station that's general viewing and then a station for as far as you can take this stuff, because it hasn't even got as far as it can go.
Beautiful girl, stay with me. Beautiful girl, stay with me.
We got a good reaction to that overall. We're talking about how much pressure women get from magazines to do this and be this and do that when they should just be themselves and stop listening to people telling them what to be, you know, and driving themselves insane or killing themselves in the process. And kind of out of that conversation, we said, well, maybe we can say something about that, you know. And INXS isn't really known for that kind of thing, and I thought that it was timely to do that, you know.
She's so scared, so very frightened. Anything could happen right here tonight.
Which do you think is your best video? The one that actually...
I think What You Need is excellent. I think that was a really good one.
It crashes in all around. It gets in.
It's the first album we've done that I can listen to myself and not go, or I wish we had done that, or we could have done this, or I wish we had more time or money or whatever. This one we really took our time, and we're all happy with every song on it.
Here come the world, looking at time. Future uncertain, but certainly slight. Look at the faces, listen to the bells. It's hard to believe we need a place called hell. Place called hell.
It was great that the world turned around and liked it all at once, you know. It wasn't really a shock. To be honest, it was like, yeah, okay, you know, seems right. I mean, you know, when you're out there touring for 13 years, it's not too much of a surprise or something that you'd be too shocked about. It was great. It was fantastic.
We're not like an AC/DC, for example, that, you know, even though they differ a little bit, you know it's them, and every album sounds the same, you know.
Well, exactly. I mean, for success...
We go nuts if
but for success reasons, ironically, though, we've probably made a harder road for ourselves than was necessary. That's the truth. Because if we'd literally just done, say, Kick, which is our highest selling record yet, if we'd just done that over and over and over and over and over again, probably would be very smart boys in an economic sense. Are you really doing what you want to do? Yeah. Or are you doing what you think you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
And there's a difference. It's a subtle line. And I mean, how many cars and houses do you need?
Not enough time for all that I want for you. Not enough time for every kiss, every touch, and all the nights I want to be inside you.
It's the most highly critically acclaimed album we've ever done. It must have been one of the best reviews of any album all year, which seemed to be the kiss of death. You know, so don't ask me. I think in some ways it's because there's a lot of other music out there that people are exploring, and you tend to be, you know, sort of just excuse me for a moment, and then you come back again, and that happens. And also, we didn't tour straight away, you know, and people are just used to us being here and going bang, 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 as soon as we put out a record, and we knew that was going to sort of happen. So, you know, that's the price you pay if you want to make more music and go in the studio. Yeah. Which is a pity, but we're happy with the album. We're really happy about the reviews, so that's all that matters, really.
As soon as you feel that you're a failure because your albums aren't selling millions of records, and as soon as you feel like that, to me, you're not really doing it anymore, because that's not really what it's all about. You should enjoy what you're doing.
Well, the thing I find is that there's an incredible gap between what is purported to be the hard facts, you know, given to us. Even when we're being conned constantly. There's a big sham going on.
You are being ripped off. The public is ripped off. You are paying money for fat cats to get fatter on our images, which I should get 10% for every time someone takes a bloody photograph, and every time somebody writes a lie.
I think you killed her.
When I go shopping for groceries, you know, I put on a baseball cap and my sunglasses and a T-shirt and jeans, you know. When Michael goes shopping for groceries, he's wearing full leathers, you know, maybe on a Harley Davidson without a helmet, you know. I mean, like, you know, I mean, what do you expect, you know? But that's the way he lives. He doesn't want to compromise, you know.
Everywhere else, it's not too bad. But London, you just get shanghaied by these guys and exploited, and they make it up as they go along. If they can't find it, and it's just terrible.
Do you ever think about leaving and going back to Australia?
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to. Eventually, but you know, I don't think you should live your life being pushed around by people either. You know, so we'll see.
How would you describe him?
I describe him as Michael Hutchence. I don't think any of us ever got into the Doors, which is a funny thing that he's been described as Jim Morrison all through his career, because none of us have got a Doors record. I know that. But I don't know. I think it's sort of stupid that people keep comparing him to anybody, because he's, you know, we've done 6 albums and like 10 tours of America, and people still feel they have to compare him to other people, especially dead people. Why compare people? You know, Jim Morrison's dead, Michael Hutchence is happening. You know, like, why compare him to someone dead?
And we want people to really, you know, understand that we are a band. You know, we're not
we're not a supporting band behind Michael Hutchence. That's just the way it is. So we're keen to press that home. But I think now, you know, the sort of, you know, I think that mission's fairly well accomplished, and I don't think we have to worry about it anymore. And if people want to focus on Michael, no one really gives a hoo-ha anymore.
What a horrible job it would be to be a front man of any band. You know, if you were looking in the want ads and you were trying to find a front man, okay, first of all, you got a guy who can write and can sing well, but then you have to have a guy who has an attitude, who's prepared to be out there all the time, all the time.
Being able to take the stage with so much confidence, with so many people looking, and to be unself-conscious.
Yeah, I don't know, honestly. One of my secrets is I'm blind as a bat, and I cannot see them. And I've got contact lenses once. This is, a lot of lead singers have this. I've asked around. And, and I've got contacts once, and I was horrified, you know. And I ripped them out on stage and lost them somewhere in the stage before I could continue.
Yeah, sure.
To be famous and to be a front person for a band, you know, you need a certain level of self-confidence to pull it off, you know, so you've really got to live the life. And I don't think for Michael it's very easy for him to sort of, you know, put on his rock star outfit or whatever and suddenly become Michael Hutchence. You know, he just is Michael Hutchence, and that's just the way he lives his life. So what you see is really the real picture, you know, that is him, that's the way he lives.
Everything you
I know what it's like, in some ways, what it's like to be hit on as a woman would, you know? In some ways, I have an empathy with it. And the pressure's put on you to be a certain way, this role, this cartoon.
A lot of musicians that come out of England these days are still very sort of bisexual or ambisexual in a sense.
Yeah.
And your band is absolutely, undeniably, unambivalently male. Is that an Australian thing?
Jesus Christ. I've got to let you know you're one of my kind.
It is a fairly macho place, I suppose, but it's changed a lot. I mean, God, 10 years ago it was a totally different place than it is now. And the whole society has changed, especially young people have really changed.
Yep, that's true. Sorry, this is it, look.
Sorry, okay, sorry, we have to go on stage now, that's it. Really sorry about this.
Goodbye.
It's one of the few shows where anybody can get up, the non-pros can get up and have a bit of fun, you know. I just felt like doing it, you know, try it out, see what Elena goes through, you know.
I want to ask what the fascination is with rock stars and models.
I don't know, I mean, you know, we're just two people, we just happen to meet each other. But, I mean, apart from that, you know, we don't sort of look at each other with headlines about each, you know, like, you're that and I'm this, but we met on the telephone. I mean, we were on tour, remember? I was talking to Elena for like 2 months on the telephone. I didn't even really know who she was when I first talked to her. Someone set us up.
Beautiful girl, stay with me. Beautiful girl, stay with me.
I'm really happy for the both of them. I mean, I'm a bit jealous, but, you know. No, it is. It's wonderful. I mean, I like it when everyone in the band's happy and happy in love, you know. It's a wonderful thing. Michael, unfortunately, for him, you know, because he's the front man and he's the focal point of the band, he can't go anywhere without sort of, you know, it's him, you know, sort of thing. And so people that end up in that situation tend to hang out with other people in that situation.
There's something about you, girl, that makes me sweat.
Very nice, very tight group. They've been together for a long time. But basically, I felt good people. You know, and I ask around a little bit, you know, and of course you find out, well, Michael's a bit of a partier and he likes his ladies and this kind of thing.
We weren't really ever groupie kind of guys, you know. We've never really been into that groupie thing, you know. The acid wash mini skirts, white cowboy boots thing, you know. I just went into it. And we're probably lucky in a way, you know. We're just more into, you know, if we were meeting women, we were meeting women, you know, and not I don't like that sort of exploitation of some sort of, I don't know, it's just stupid, you know, it's too cliche. You know?
He was trouble waiting to happen. I remember, you know, being at a bar with him in Marbella when we were in Spain, right? And it was it was like a bar where a lot of high rollers were hanging out. And I would say within 15 minutes of walking into that bar, Michael had a thing going with the girl behind the bar who was engaged to some multi-million-dollar drug dealer from God knows where, and there was friction already there. I mean, we were in there 15 minutes, you know, and so, you know, you look at Andrew and he goes, well, you know, this is the price you pay for being the front man in this band.
Well, we went out last night.
Yeah, we sure did.
And we went right out. And it's a good place for a party. It's, Brazilians they're worse than us, you know. And we're trying to keep up with them. They're crazy.
After we were done in the studio, if Michael wanted to go out and party, which he did a number of times, that's fine. But he was there next day, ready to go. Lyrics were done. He was a great singer. When he was singing, he was right on. And just a perfect guy to work with. And, you know, he was never afraid to take chances when he was singing. He was one of those kind of singers that doesn't come in and kind of do what he's done on a song at rehearsals. Every time he sang a song, it was always a little different, you know, in his delivery. And some of them went way south and didn't work. Others were fabulous, you know, like one-of-a-time, you know, kind of performances.
Shut your mouth off like a kid, scared to have a heart. Losing grip, what really matters, 'cause you don't know where to start.
The one thing about INXS that's kept us together is we've all been capable of controlling each other's egos, or, you know, or most of them anyway, and that kind of thing. And I think that's really helped, because I think most of the problems people have with fame is simply an inbuilt one.
Baby, let me drive my car.
How's it going?
Yes, I'm gonna be a star.
Yes, I'm going to be a star. I think most people think on the other side of cameras or on the other side of radio stations, they think that you're somehow larger than life. In actual fact, you're just as mortal and as crazy and messed up as everybody else. And I think the reality is that for most folks who do this, that's the big secret, is getting a handle on that and then realizing what those essentials are. I know my life and my family and friends become more and more important now. That's one of those crazy old statements, but it's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're focusing on those things, and we've been together 20 years as a group.
We've been together 30 years as friends.
Yeah, but you come in and out of things, and then Michael's got his own life, I got my own life outside of the group, and that's incredibly healthy.
Do you have any kids?
No, I don't. As far as I know. No, I would love to have some.
I'm part of you. You're part of me. There's nothing said that cannot be undone.
Children give you a strange energy. This noblesse oblige comes over you, and you do things for someone else. And children are the greatest reason on earth to do anything.
Don't ask me what you know is true. Don't have to tell you I love your precious heart. I was standing
the amount of experience that you go through in doing what we do is many lifetimes in some ways, you know. The problem is holding on to something, a fixed point, for long enough to understand it and get something from it.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part. So time to reflect is probably my most important times. And when not doing anything, to be able to stop and think about what you've done or achieved and stuff. But otherwise, you know, it's kind of zoom, 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 really.
Yes, it's me. I am the one who make you see where we belong. I'll be shaking like a leaf, all wrapped up in my dirty sheets.
The funny thing is with time is that, and rock and roll, is that everybody wants to ask 20-year-olds their thoughts on God, love, politics, money, etc. in the universe, and they don't even know what they're talking about. And by the time you get to 32, you got the stuff worked out. No one cares.
Right,
So ever since Elvis got his hands on rock and roll, he made it a youth-orientated and certainly sexually orientated, which I have no problem with, but a youth-orientated music.
Train, coming down the line.
Rock and roll before that was basically like folk music, really, and it was everybody listened to it and everybody was getting into it, you know, and since then white boys can't get old, you know. You're not allowed to, or very rarely. You got to die around 26 in a car accident, you know, or something. It's an indulgent kind of world that you live in, and it indulges you to be that way.
Well, they expect you to be that way, don't they?
People don't mind if you kill yourself. They're quite happy about that. It's bizarre. There's not many other things like that. So, yeah.
It's like when you work in the newsroom and someone dies, you know, there's almost like, someone died today, we've got a lead story.
Great, lead story, yeah. Yeah, well, I hope I don't become a lead story.
I hope you don't.
Welcome to this weekend's edition of Facts. I'm Kathleen Rask. We'll start things off with some very sad news. Music fans all over the world shocked by the death of Michael Hutchence. Australian media reporting that the lead singer of INXS hanged himself in a Sydney hotel on Friday. He was 37 years old.
The body of an Australian citizen who has been a resident in England for some time was discovered in the hotel on the 5th floor. Detectives have taken into possession a leather belt for scientific examination. It would appear that there are no suspicious circumstances. The man's relatives in Australia and overseas have all been informed at this time.
Received this terrible news in the early hours of this morning. She's naturally devastated by what's happened. I only ask that the media leave her to absorb what has happened, which is going to take some time, and leave her, and particularly the children, in peace today.
I'll be giving you a press statement this afternoon. Okay. Just please respect my grief, and I'll get back this afternoon.
I don't know what to think. Just can't believe it's happened.
Well, I'm sure all Australians, those sort of events are tragic. It takes from the Australian and world rock scene one of our most gifted and talented performers, and it really is a very tragic event.
You are sad about that.
Well, I issued a statement on Friday, and you know, I expressed my feelings then, and I said I'd nothing further to add.
the dark of night, those small hours, uncertain and anxious, I'm to call you. Rooms full of strangers, some call me friend, but I wish you were so close to me. In the dark of night, those small hours, I drift away when I'm with you.
We saw him, a distant figure on a stage, and somehow felt that we knew him.
The kindest, most deeply sensitive, loving man.
My heart goes out to Paula and beautiful darling girl Tiger and the other girls, to the band, to his friends and people who have known Michael, who have lost a tremendous friend.
We will remember him with love and affection. We will all miss you, Michael. God bless you.
By my side, by my side, I wish you were, I wish you were. In the dark of night, these faces, they haunt me. Well, I wish you were so close to me. Yes, I wish you were by my side.
The world should be very careful about taking antidepressants. That's all I think. I think it's the whole thing's a very grey area, and people should respect when they're putting things like that into their bodies. Just exactly what they do. I don't know, but I just... If it did, I know there's been a lot of recent things with things like antidepressants and alcohol mixed together, making people suicidal. And I think the world's got to take a deeper look at it.
You know, Michael kind of going, well, I'm really depressed tonight, that's it, I'm going to finish. I don't think so, because he'd bounce back from a lot of other tough things and come back strong and come back, you know, relationships with other women, you know, he'd gone through those and still on top of it, he'd gone through terrible albums, all kinds of things. And that hadn't bothered him, you know. So I find it, yeah, it's strange.
We grew up here and all together, and it's been the same guys, and I think to a lot of Australians now, you know, we're sort of like local guys that, you know, that people have seen just progress and in their natural manner, and I think hopefully it's been an inspiration to people. I would like to think that anyway.
Music is not a means to an end. It's what we do, you know. This is what we do, regardless. It's not just how you get to be famous or how you get to make money. That really is an end product of, if it so happens that it goes that way, of it as well.
If this ended tomorrow, I definitely wouldn't get into another band hoping for world stardom again, because this is too much work. It really is too much work.
We have our ups and downs. We have our goods and bads as people, you know, as the Six people. I think when we're ready to call it a day, I just know these guys well enough to know, like I would feel that it'd be a point where we felt that there was no more that we would want to do.
It's not like Van Halen, you know, Ed and Sam have a fight. Okay, you know, who are we going to get? Let's get Gary, and in he comes, you know. Or it's not that kind of a thing, because that band was really built around Michael being there, and Michael is so much a part of their image and their sound and everything. It was, he's irreplaceable.
You have to really take a step back from yourself a lot, you know. Make a hobby to be normal or something. Because if you don't, you lose what you started with, you know. Simple as that.